The following program is intended for a mature audience. Viewer discretion is advised.
This I've got to see.
It's worth watching, so stay tuned.
You're here for your daily renewal of belief and skills and mindsets. You want to be phenomenal in your life and in relationship. You want to know what dark sexual energy means. You want to know how to bring that out. You want to know what the hell David Data was talking about in the book Enlightened Sex, which I was watching this morning or listening to this morning. You want to know what the hell is he talking about? Well, yeah, that's what we're here to explain. We're here to unfold the ninja level 3 relationship stuff that David Data talks about, how to bloom love within your own self and in your relationship. And that starts with your own skills. We've got plenty of posts from the forum today. I've got a cool one from a gentleman that you guys know well. We'll see if he comes on. I keep the names out of the posts as well, and I make sure I don't say any last names, that kind of thing. So fantastic. We've got a lot to get into. We've got some John Weiland today, Simon Sinek. I've got another Psychology Secrets Inside the Mojo. But before we get started, this is Miss Cynthia Kruse, the only woman allowed on this show for her professional and feminine perspective.
That was good.
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Welcome to the C-Note Show. Cynthia, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to see all of you. And I hope wherever you are, it is as beautiful as Ian's background.
It's pretty gorgeous out here. We've had the Garden of Eden here for a couple of weeks with the blooming trees and the white blooms and the pink blooms on the trees and all that fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, the cherry tree, like,
yes,
so amazing.
Super cool stuff. So we've got Cynthia's Sexcapade, of course, which we share about the last 10 minutes of the show. Speaking of blooming cherries. And by the way, if you're here live, fantastic. You get to see all the clips that I'm going to show. I've got a movie clip today as well. All of this stuff, all the clips, most of them anyway, especially the movies, we have to cut out of YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you want the full recordings of these, or if you're watching these now and you're thinking, damn, that was a fantastic show, I want to go back to that particular show, we do host these in our membership area for free, greatmenmovemountains.com/VIP, and punch in your information. You get into our membership area for free. Yeah, let's see. I got distracted there for a second. Let's see. So it takes about 2 weeks for us to get those shows up, just so you know. So being here live, you get the benefits of all the clips of connecting with the guys all around the world. You can privately chat. You're going to do the skills and practice the skills right now that are going to make this impactful into your life immediately. So being here on the show also practices the skills and connections all over the world. But if you want to get those recordings, greatmenmovemountains.com/VIP. Cynthia's Sexcapade spot today. Pull her hair. Pull her hair.
Just like that.
Just you have to say it. I mean, it's all caps. So like pull hair. I think it's just pull her hair. Pull her fucking hair, for Christ's sake. For the love of God, pull her hair. I think that's what she's trying to get across. Pull her hair. We're going to learn why, for the love of God, you should be pulling her hair, at least to some extent. Yes, that's right. You should be pulling her hair. Anything else you want to add to the pull her hair?
No, I think that's good.
I mean, she's caught in the net of her own desire.
Yes.
And her hair is perfectly dry. Apparently she's dry standing in the middle of a lake or wherever she is.
Well, she's fishing. So.
She's fishing for something. That's right, baby. She is fishing. And speaking of fishing, I'm going to fish for your involvement in our show. Boom, like that shit. Staircase of Courage question for today. So as long as you're not fishing in a nighty but perfectly dry, standing in the middle of the lake, pulling your own hair or whatever's happening there. Kyle's definitely not pulling his own hair. Yeah, buddy. At least those that we need not be spoken. Yeah, we don't want to know. Okay.
That works too.
Yeah, buddy. On a roll today. Staircase of Courage question for today. Punch this into the chat right now. How do you relate to failure? Okay, so what's your philosophy around failure, quote unquote, whatever that means to you? Okay, trying and stumbling, feeling like, I don't deserve it, right? It's one of our fun human experiences as I don't deserve this or I'm not good enough. Every single one of us has that. But what's your philosophy around failure? How do you relate to failure in your life? And how do you treat it within yourself and with other people? So that's like 3 questions for today. I know it's kind of a lot, but I want you to punch in. How do you think of failure? What do you do when you fail? How do you handle failure with other people, right? When they stumble and fail, maybe it's your children or your spouse or at work. Maybe those are all different. You handle those differently. So lean into this a little bit. How do you relate to failure? And that's certainly in direct relation to some posts from the forum for today. And I've got some Simon Sinek around this and John Wineland. It just came all together. Our theme of this week is creating the impossible. And we had another man last night, or I think it was this morning. I won't say his name because I'm sure if and when he comes on, he'll yell it from the rooftops. He started to date women. He's going through divorce, and it's been a couple of months. He's been on his own for 2 months, I believe, in his own apartment now. And he's been dating some women, and he's having phenomenal sexual experiences with gorgeous women that he would have never expected to be possible. And I know those of you men who have gone through a divorce, like myself, my story, that we do create love and connection and passion and intimacy. And you're using these skills from day one, whether it's with the next woman or the current woman in your life. And it's often a lot more difficult with the current woman in your life. You guys know this, right? Those of you who've been on the show for quite a while, it's more difficult, and we're there for a reason, right? She has a place in our heart. We're trying to keep our family together. We love her deeply. Maybe she's going through a lot of trauma or has gone through trauma, right? Or it's a tough time in life and you're not trying to throw in the towel. You want to learn all these skills and know that you've done everything that you can, okay? So being here is a part of doing everything you can. And relating to failure, how you relate to failure, just small little bits of failure or giant failure makes a huge, enormous impact on the sexual connection in your relationship, how she sees you as a man, how she feels about her own self. So even before I open this up, Cynthia, what hits you here? Your relation to failure as a man, even if you take it in on yourself or you punish other people around you unknowingly as a man, let's say, and you're a woman around that. You've talked about how some of these lack of frame in a man can push her out of her feminine. Mm-hmm. She maybe feels like she needs to protect herself, which takes her out of her feminine. Share a little bit about that. If a man's not practiced and good with stumbling and failure, what happens in a woman's body, please?
Yeah, I think, of course, the feminine, of course, women have their own relationship to failure. When the masculine, when I notice men are being kind of like eaten alive by thoughts or emotion about feeling like a failure, or feeling, a weakness in that, it's a kind of a loss of that grounded, heart-centered, golden king energy. And it can almost come across as, how he is judging himself. He is, judging others. So on the other side of that, I can feel kind of uneasy. Like I'm not sure what's going on. I feel it's like a different energy shift. And it's, a woman can tend to think that whatever he's going through is about her or the space between them. And she might then attack back. She might then run away. But regardless, it's not the energy that helps her lean into him and gravitate toward him and feel magnetized by him.
Yeah, so much energy behind just how you handle failure in your own body, within your own life. I love that you're here to share that with us, Cynthia. So cool. So let's go ahead and jump into you already are punching in right now the answer to Staircase of Courage question today. How do you treat within yourself failure and with other people? And in that theme, let's go ahead and jump into a post from today. I think it was from this morning about last night. And if this gentleman doesn't want to come on, that's cool. But so here's what would you do? Where do you think this man is coming from? And what do you think he wants? And what might you do if you were in this spot? He posts, trying something different after seeing a big response after offering to help in a situation where she was stressed. A common theme or point of contention. I calmly offered to give our daughter a bath. I wasn't trying to rescue, and I was pretty upbeat about it. I was trying to give her something by taking something away. Right? So helping wife by trying to give wife something by taking something off her plate. She asked why. I said, "You seem busy tonight." She misinterpreted that and spiraled. I did my best to make a statement that my intention is to help so she could wrap up whatever she needed to do. She mentioned a boundary to not talk about it in front of the kids, taking from my lead, but then she tried to again. I stopped it to hold up that boundary for her. I tried to address the situation later in the evening. Maybe next time I'll go for the 24/7 rule. So my 24/7 rule is wait 24 hours, but bring it up in less than 7 days, if it even still needs to be brought up after 24 hours, right? And that's so you can calm yourself down, get some perspective, maybe post about it with the men so you don't step on your dick too often. He continues, I have noticed as time passes, even a day or two, she will respond with, "I don't even remember," and shut down. So I was thinking, let's address this while it's fresh. Let's violate the 24/7 rule. Fuck that. And address it while it's fresh. Let's see what happens. So before I even go, there's screenshots of texting that happens after this, which I thought is fascinating and fantastic for us to talk about. So I've got more to get into, but before I even ask that, right, Cynthia, what would you say about in the past? I've noticed that when a day or two passes, she'll respond with, "I don't even remember what you're talking about," and shut down. So that's kind of his justification for not waiting in this scenario. So what would you say there? Because first of all, bullshit, she doesn't remember, right? I mean, I'm just going to call bullshit on that. So take us from there. I mean, I could guess she doesn't want to talk about it. What else might be underneath that for her, though, when she says, like, "I don't even remember," and she shuts down about it? What else might be there that we want to know?
I think this was even in Jason's feedback on this post, that sounds like her own experience of feeling like a failure or feeling weak. And instead of it being outward energy that she puts out, it's a inward collapse. So in terms of like, she doesn't respond, like, "I don't even remember," that sounds like a shutting out of a man she feels who has wronged her or said the wrong thing, um, in addition to not wanting to feel her own emotional experience of that. And that's her way of feeling like she has container and can handle the situation. And maybe that's a coping mechanism so that she can keep going. Because the danger with the collapse response is, there's a fear, like, what if I collapse all the way and then I can't keep moving forward? And, with kids and work, you have to keep moving forward. So that might be her habitual, screw the emotional experience I'm having. And because I just can keep going.
Yeah, so I'll say one thing about that now, and then I'm going to move forward into the screenshots. So as David Data would say, there's 3 levels of relationship. The first level is just about me covering myself, sort of surface level, materialistic often. Level 2 is we can talk, and it's more of we're both individuals in a relationship and we can communicate, but the sexual polarity is usually pretty dead. We're both exactly the same, and there is no masculine feminine dynamics. That's level 2. And level 3, of course, is passionate love and intimacy and blooming love. And I'll say for us as men that we have to have our sights on something fantastic, on some type of adventurous feeling within the relationship, so we can lead her in that direction so that she doesn't feel like she needs to close back down. So the one thing I wanted to say was, in the past, I mean, and this is another topic, but I wouldn't have just let her blow it off in the past. Okay, now how to open her up is a whole other discussion. But a part of this is that you're going to bring humor and you're going to lead toward blooming love between the two of you. And you're not going to let anything get in the way of that. That's the meta. That's the meta story. That doesn't mean you shove things down her throat, but back to, well, in the past, she's just kind of shoved it down. There's a whole other conversation to be had there. We can have another time. So I'm sure that's underneath with this man as well. So let's go into the screenshots of the texting. So back and forth here as well. I mean, already, right? And then he said he shut it down right then, so it wasn't in front of the kids. And then, oh, here we go, texting. So the green is the man, and the I suppose the gray is his wife, right? So he starts with, and I believe I got these in order. There's 4 pictures. Would you like to join me for a cup of tea and finish our conversation? And she says, I'm in bed, but thank you, exclamation point. Okay. So right there, she just said what already? So I want you guys to come on in for these texting. I want some real live back and forth. Unmute yourself and coming in. Hey, let's have a cup of tea and continue our conversation. I'm in bed already, but thank you. Okay, what are you getting from that already?
That means fuck off.
Yeah. Hey.
That's it.
Yeah, so she said, thanks, but fuck off. I'm not interested. Okay. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Let's go ahead and jump back. That was beautiful. So the man continues, I'm here to talk about how you felt when I offered help. I know I struggle often to accept help. She says, I wasn't struggling accepting help. It was rude for you to insinuate that I was too busy to give daughter a bath, I think is right. So it was your delivery, your passive aggressive tone and choice of words, but I'm not up for discussing it. I'm tired. I'm boxing at 6 a.m. Okay. Feedback. What did she say there? I mean, we could have Hans come on again if we want, but.
Okay, so I actually want to give a little bit of props. He's leading with vulnerability.
Yeah.
However, what he just told her is you have a problem accepting help. That is what he said. That is not what he said.
Look at Leandro. Oh my God, I gotta start doing this.
Right?
We gotta start using this during the show. Yeah.
He got it exactly right. So what he did was put words into her mouth which she didn't want to have, and she spit them back, and she was about ready to spit really hard, I think.
Well, okay. So thank you, Jason, for jumping in already. I was totally going to honor this man for being vulnerable with her. I want to say that. So when a woman is totally into you, she's following your leadership, she feels that the relationship is blooming, it's adventurous, she loves life. You could say the exact same thing and she's going to be like, oh yeah, you're right. Thank you. Like, I love you. Can I take your pants off? Okay. But that's not where this relationship is. So let's just say that you can say the exact same things, but it depends on where. I've talked about her watermark of anxiety. I've talked about that, and where she feels the relationship is, as far as if the relationship is underwater or not, depending on her watermark of anxiety. Okay. So if the relationship is here and her anxiety is low, she's going to feel the relationship's going better than if her anxiety is really high and it feels like the relationship is underwater. She's going to react in a completely different way. So I just want to honor that. Telling her how she felt. And then she got pretty snappy back. All right. So when she got snappy back, it's, well, what do we do when our woman isn't very happy in that moment? If we were standing in front of her, what would we do? Right? We would empathize. We would try to just be there for her. We wouldn't try to fix it. We wouldn't try to tell her. We wouldn't try to tell her how she feels, this kind of thing. So Cynthia, what do you want to add in this spot right here? I wasn't struggling accepting help. It was rude so now she's giving it to him back, right? She feels defensive. So what else might you, what would be a great way for a man to handle this spot right here? If he's digging, what should he do at the spot? What do you think?
Well, I on the forum, there was the feedback of these kind of conversations in person, which feels really important. At that point, it seems like she's triggered whatever her sensitivity is, and fear about herself is starting to vibrate. And so anything that is said right now, there's probably like 1 out of 100 things this guy could say that would be the perfect thing to say. But 99 of the other times, the trigger is too strong, too, vibrant in her. And that's kind of a time to invite, like, oh, I hear you about that. There's an offer, like, would love to talk with you about this later, or just okay, I hear you. And in person, reestablish, hey, I really would love to talk about, the other night and how you felt, and would like to hear more about the situation and what it affects in you.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so I have some thoughts about that. She might just be like, shove it up your ass. I don't remember, that whole thing. We're kind of back to, I don't remember what happened. But let's just keep forging forward. because this man's going to forge forward. He's brave. Here we go. You felt I had a tone, question mark. Danger, danger, danger. Pull up, pull up. Oh my God. Yeah. So now he's being this comes across as defensive. And this is why, again, you don't do this over text, right? So you felt I had a tone. You totally could have just been, let's have a conversation about chess or tea or whatever it may be. But she's in defensive. So this is going to come across as defensive. You know, maybe she also says, maybe there was a misunderstanding between us. I was offering you something by taking something away. So that's even confusing to me. I know what you're talking about, but she's kind of pissed at this point. And now you're like mansplaining almost. That's why it's called mansplaining. It's because she's in emotion and you're still trying to logic your way through it. Right. Not a good, not a good spot to be in. So here we go. She says, I'll just go ahead and pound forward and I want to get your guys' feedback, some takeaways. She says, snarky, yes, that's how it was perceived. And I can appreciate that may not have been your intention, but that's how I accepted it. Wow. Okay. I thought that was really good on her. She actually is not attacking in that part. She says, I didn't have a problem with you offering to bathe her. I had a problem with you telling me I was busy and then not giving me a detail or example when I asked you to explain until I asked multiple times and you mentioned I was on my phone or something. So she seems confused too. Okay. And then she goes on, I show up for these kids 200% because I'm responding to texts or whatever. Does not mean I'm too busy. Like, let me run my own life, basically. Then you said, I'd love to talk this over in person so there's no misunderstanding. Great. And then she keeps going. So here's all the berry markings, I think Allison Armstrong would say, right? So here comes all the meta, the feminine she was considering in the moment. She's like, you're not even thinking about all this other shit I'm doing. Adjusting the temperature. She was getting ready. I was getting ready. There's no misunderstanding. Okay. And then there's 2 big fucking paragraphs that the man texts. And I don't think she responded back to that. Right. And this is more of you trying to like explain your point of view, which I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. But it's just coming across as, I don't believe you. You're dumb. You're not thinking of this correctly. I'm better than you. You know, I'm explaining it to you. That's how it seems to me this is coming across. So what else would you like to add to this? Maybe you can just commiserate with this guy. Like, damn, I've been in that spot, which I've definitely been in that spot. Or do you want to add anything here? You know, she forgets it later on. How would you maybe stand up for yourself later on if you waited 3 or 4 days until the weekend and you brought it up again? What else would you add here? Come on in.
I'll jump in. You know, probably 99% of the time, it's not about you. It's not even about the situation going on. I'll share a little story just so you can learn something from it that I just experienced this past weekend camping with some friends. Me and, it was my girlfriend's, friends, husband and wife. And me and him were outside grilling, brought hot burgers, some chicken. The girls were getting the condiments out of the cooler, bringing them in the cabin and some potato chips, and we're out there cooking. Well, we came in the cabin with all the meat. The girls were gone. We didn't know where they went. And we're like, well, food's warm. So we made our hamburgers and stuff, started eating. And his wife comes in, starts yelling at us. How rude. I cannot believe you did not wait for us. You are sitting down here eating and blah, blah, blah. You didn't even wait for us. We've been running back and forth getting potato chips, and you didn't wait for us. And I sat there right away. I said, the girls are running back and forth getting potato chips while we were cooking. This ain't even about us. So while she's yelling at us, I took a bite of my burger while she's yelling at us. And my buddy, he apologized. He goes, I'm sorry, and that was it. We left it alone. And then all of a sudden we're kind of joking about it a little later. And then she comes up to me the next day and she starts apologizing to me. I didn't say a word. I didn't apologize for nothing. She came to me. She goes, I'm really sorry for being a bitch yesterday. Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary that my dad died. And I just started this new job and I'm commuting an hour back and forth each way. I've just been tired and this and that. It wasn't even about us.
Yeah.
It's just all her emotions got bottled up. She let it out. We sat there and we were cool with it. We didn't question it. We didn't sit there and go, well, we've been doing all the cooking and blah, blah, blah. We just sat there and let her have her moment, and didn't say nothing about it. And, she came and apologized to me the next day about it. So 99% of the time, it's not about what's going on there. There's other things that are bottling up and letting out. We just got to let her have it. And I think he said in there, usually 2 days later, she'll come up and not even remember what happened. Boom, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point, Rob. Great story. I love it. So, so fantastic. Yeah. And I encouraged another man. Another man had a post about, he was explaining a similar thing and he kind of popped his top. He blew his lid a little bit. And that tension, I don't know, Rob Piotrowski is the fucking man. I don't think he ever feels tension, but most of us humans feel tension when a woman comes in and is like yelling at us and stuff. I'm just joking around. So being able to hold that tension and not defend yourself is a gigantic hurdle that once you learn that skill, it's a fucking, I typed this morning, it's a revelation. It's a revelation in your life to think that you don't have to defend yourself, that she can be mad in this moment. And often you just accepting that and taking it in is better than anything you could utter out of your mouth. Right. So it's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to make that, let's say it's a mistake to start eating before them. They perceived it as a mistake. That's okay. It's a mistake that they ran for the potato chips 19 times or whatever, whatever. Like, that's fine. It's not a big deal. I'm going to take another big bite of my burger. I love that. Rob, you're the man. Yeah. JT and I agree that you're my hero. That's right. That's right, JT. Anyone else want to chime in on this before I move forward? I'm going to shut up for 20 seconds. You guys can come in if you like. Otherwise I'll move forward. Go for it.
Go ahead.
My experience also, when you're leading or you're in a group and you do take away the task of somebody else, it oftentimes is misinterpreted as if you see weakness in them. And most of the time, it's maybe just a challenge for them at the time. And it's okay that they're being challenged at the moment. It's also a human need. I don't think that when someone is feeling challenged that you per se have to help. I think she can ask for help when she really needs it. But I wasn't in the situation, so I don't have all the information. Reading also, like, chapeau, like, good job, man, because even just reading them from outside, I feel the tension in my body. I would not have reacted like this guy. I would have gone to logic mode very, very quickly.
Yeah, thank you, Bernard. I want to mention something. I saw Hans was going to come in, so 1 second, Hans. So Bernard, you're making a good point in that you can just say, hey, he could go at this whole bath thing. This is not the first bath time argument that we've seen from this guy. So I'm not sure what it is about she wants to be mommy during that time, or if you're trying to push something on her, but taking a different angle, like, all right, the front door is locked. Okay. The whole trying to take the bath away at the last second, not a good. So what do I really wanting here? What do I want her to feel? I want her to feel supported. I want her to feel like I'm here to help her. I want her to feel like I'll take some things off her plate so she can have more space. Maybe bring that up when it's not in the moment. Bring that up on a Saturday morning of these positive intentions you want to have. So Hans, did you want to say anything to jump in right there, buddy?
Well, I was just going to say that, I'm an expert on this. Is like, she's directly saying, I don't want to talk about this right now. And in my mind, that was always, okay, I'm going to go bigger, bolder, more in your face about it. And then she's going to say, in a maybe more hostile tone, it's like, no, I don't want to talk about it right now. Game on. Let's go even further and further and further. And, this is the hardest thing to do, to just, let it go for a little bit and just realize there is not a single thing you could possibly say in this moment, text her in person, that is going to get her out of that frame of mind. Like, zero. You could say the nicest, sweetest thing, you're so beautiful. And it's like, what the fuck did you just say to me? I mean, it's just not going to go well, anything you say in that moment. Like, if you have to defend yourself for a boundary or something, go for it in a gentle way, whatever. But that's not what she was saying. She was just like, let's back off of this. But I want to go to bed. And that was the hardest thing in the entire world, to just say, okay, good night, So a lot of props to him for bringing it up, because, like, I've been there so many times. I know the taste of every one of my shoes when I put my foot in my mouth. It's, it's almost never the first thing I say. It's usually the 20th after she's saying, let's stop this. Let's back away from this. that's what I wanted to say there. But.
I love it, Hans. I love it. Thanks for stories from the front lines, buddy. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Yeah, Kyle, come on in.
Yeah, so in this situation, I feel like not trying to explain or defend, I mean, that's probably how it comes off, but trying to establish that I don't have the intentions that you think. And again, it is just explaining or defending, but I felt like I was clearly seen completely in a different light than what my intention is and where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it was just with the delivery and the words used, you know, I could see how I could go by it differently, but like, that's not what I'm doing. At the same time, I don't want to play small. I don't want to live small and just do nothing and just, okay, walk out of the room because I'm getting, you know, hit with something. So I was trying something different, although probably not very different from anything in the past and like anyone else has seen, you know, probably would have been more of a battle, like Hans was saying, you know, in the past, but just trying something different because I think something in one of the videos you guys put out rang true with me when Cynthia said, you know, doing nothing or saying nothing is just going to reaffirm the past, and I was trying to break that and didn't go how I thought, but I learned from it. So
yeah. Yeah, man, absolute kudos for leaning in and trying something new completely. And bringing this here not only helps you learn, but every single man that's ever going to see this, Kyle, right? This is, and we've all been there, dude. We've absolutely all been there. So in no way am I trying to knock you down.
Mhm.
Like, this is great. It's a different approach, and something about you're like wanting her to believe you're a good man in that moment. And to what Hans said, often trying to force it only makes it worse. And that's the tough spot. It's like one of those finger traps. It's a finger trap, right? The harder you want to get out of it, the more it grabs on it, that kind of a situation. And by the way, so I'm going to ask Cynthia about this in a second, but Kyle, for instance, when you're at the tub and you said something like, hey, you look busy, I'd love, can I do the bath for you? And she didn't respond very well to that. That's really all that needs to happen in that moment. It's like, okay, I'd love to do it. So maybe next time, or I'm here for you. I want to support you. Just going back to a meta statement of the positive thing you want, just one thing, one sentence, like, hey, I'm here to support you. So I'll catch you later. Anything like that. And so if I take it from there, is that what you meant by not just shutting up and turning, not ignoring her, but what do you mean when Kyle brought that up about, we don't want to just be a statue. We do want to give in some way. So what would you add to Kyle's spot there?
Well, and Kyle, I just saw your question about that this morning. There, as you were talking, Jeff, like it's doing something new is amazing, and stating the positive, and bath time is important to you, that it's okay to keep stating, hey, I'd like to do this, bringing new energy into what you're excited to do with the kids. It doesn't sound like she is receptive to being helped, but that can shift when your leadership is about what you want to do, and the energy that you bring to that. And even if that triggers her into like, oh, thinks I'm not doing this, and like your tone and everything, a new way to handle that is, you don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to even get it on the books that, that's not what I intended. She's in her own story, and just you being certain in yourself of, hey, that wasn't what I intended, and I'm going to keep moving forward with how I want to wrap my arms around this family, is something new. Kind of takes the energy out of your sails, your sword as a king, when you even take a nod to her claiming that you were acting a certain way. You don't have to explain yourself or make sure that she knew that. You just get to keep moving forward in your own vision and certainty of your desire and your intent.
Yeah, phenomenal. Mic drop from Cynthia. Let me go and read a couple of paragraphs from Way of the Superior Man by David Data that plays right into this. And then I've got a 2-minute John Wineland clip that talks about this as well, a woman's storm and accepting her feminine storm. So one paragraph from David Data: stop hoping for a completion of anything. Stop hoping for a completion of anything in life. Most men make the error of thinking that one day it will be done. They think, if I can work enough, then one day I could rest. Or one day my woman will understand something and then she'll stop complaining. Or I'm only doing this now so that one day I can do what I really want with my life. The masculine error is to think that eventually things will be different in some fundamental way. They won't. It never ends. As long as life continues, the creative challenge is to tussle, play, and make love with the present moment while giving your unique gift. And John Wineland's going to say it in a little different way here for about actually 1 minute and 45 seconds. Here we go.
The more feminine a human being is, the less structured they are, mentally, physically, emotionally. The less sane they are, the less rational they are, right? And so the deeper into the feminine any of us, a man or a woman, goes, the more we're just really flowing with the more chaos we're in, right? The more chaos, right? It sounds like chaos is what you're dealing with, right? So great masculine practice at some point is to be able to be with chaos without collapse. That's ultimately great masculine practice. The chaos of a big family, the chaos of a friend who's, however, I see a lot of men taking that on when they really don't want to. And I'm wondering if you really want to be taking that on for this woman.
Not at all. I blocked her.
Great, great, perfect. So that's the decision, I think. If you decide as a masculine friend or a masculine partner to really love a feminine being, man or woman, you want feminine, right? That's what you're craving in your sex life, and you want that kind of wild heart and devotion and all of that. You're actually like stepping in to take on everything that they're bringing, right? So if you had chosen this woman as a romantic partner, yeah, then part of your decision-making process is, okay, am I down for the exes, her neurosis, her daddy issues, her body issues, am I down for loving all of that? And if you are, then there's a way of being with that we've kind of worked on all year, right? But if you're not, which it sounds like you're not, then bless her and yeah.
I want to make a point here in that you are intentional with your life. You intentionally brought this woman into your life for some reason. Maybe it was your unconscious doing it intentionally, which, right, we talked about that before, but you brought her into your life for some reason, and you can make sense of that reason in any way that you want. So we as humans and as, men in control of our own lives, we can create the meaning of what we're facing. So I'm going to read one paragraph here from Michael Neal, and then I've got a Simon Sinek minute and 55 seconds about this in a different angle. It's a different way to think about this, okay? So creating the impossible. We can only wield the magic paintbrush of thought on the blank canvas of consciousness at this very moment. So in this moment is the only place we can actually bring creativity to the world. It's always in this moment, right? And that's a piece of why as a man, you want to try to fix it in that moment. Like, okay, let me do something about it. Well, the skill is often to not defend or try to fix it. That's the doing. It's to be conscious. Michael Neal continues, after enough moments, a picture begins to emerge from a series of seemingly disconnected brushstrokes. And as what at first existed only in our imagination begins to come into form, other people begin to see it as well and become enrolled in the possibility of its creation. So this is another way to say that your woman needs to believe that you believe that that's possible. That you believe that this level 3 relationship, the blooming love, the being the man you want to be, the not defending, that the two of you can have fun and joy in life, you have to believe that. And that's one reason that you're here in person, to feel it from these other men that have blazed the trail, to learn the skills, and to see another clip like this. This is more about business, But, because Simon Sinek often talks about corporations, but think about this in terms of your relationship and how closely it can relate. Here we go. Simon Sinek.
I don't think you can motivate the unmotivated. I don't think you can motivate people. People either are motivated or unmotivated. I think you can inspire people. You can motivate people with sticks and carrots, offer them bounty or threaten punishment, and you'll get behavior that you want. Is there loyalty? Is there love? Absolutely not. Usually when people are unmotivated, it's not necessarily them. It might be the situation they're in. Maybe they don't belong in the culture. Maybe they feel unseen or unheard. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're unprepared. So we have to, when somebody's unmotivated, let's not label them as unmotivated first. What are the 20 other things that it could also be? Let's start there. Now, are there some people in the world who are unmotivated? Absolutely. You hired them, which means you bear some responsibility if it's time to transition them, to help them find another place where they're going to be a better fit. We can't yell at them and call them stupid and unmotivated and push them out the door. We have to bear some of the responsibility. We hired them. And if we made a mistake and hired somebody who's a bad cultural fit, then we have to take care of them and help them transition to somewhere where they're going to be a better fit. I think that, if we only focus on motivating people, and that's a factor, then you're only going to get very finite thinking. An excessive amount of motivating things, like hit this number, get this bonus, you'll get a motivated employee pool that doesn't care about each other, might stab each other in the back, and eventually will take a better job somewhere else. We have to inspire people. We have to give them that sense of cause and vision that their work is worth more. We have to make them feel like they matter and feel like they're seen and heard and understood. And what ends up happening is those people are not only more motivated and inspired, but if they're offered a better, higher paying job somewhere else, they turn it down, because it's not just about the bonuses and the money. It's because they would rather be here with these wonderful people.
Yeah. So she wants to be inspired in your relationship. Like, oh, well, yeah. Okay, Jeff, that's unfair. Why doesn't she? So yeah, you want her to be inspiring as a feminine presence as well. And that's a different topic we've certainly talked about. And yes, it would be awesome if your woman was working on some of this as well, but you've got to lead the way. You've got to make her want to do these new, exciting, joyous things with you. And she has to feel inspired and respect you. She has to respect you and feel inspired to do that. Yeah, Cynthia Sexcapade spot for today. Pull her hair. What would you like? I made the jokes about the netting earlier. I'll save the fishing references for another time. Cynthia, so pull her hair. What would you like us to know? Please take it away.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about what a woman feels when you do pull her hair, whether it's in sex, in foreplay, outside of the bedroom. And that kind of taps into, you spoke a little bit of like dark sexuality earlier in the show. It's a feeling she gets she's in that moment feeling your possession of her. And that might already be a kind of trigger, like, oh, well, my woman does not want to feel that from me at all. And there's a feminine desire to know that in any moment, you as king, lover, warrior, magician in her life are claiming her as the woman that you've chosen. So that has very deep, amazing tendrils of energy for a woman's body to feel that from you, to feel that in also your passion, also your energy, where you are not trying to prove anything or take anything. It's that king who knows what he's wanting, and it can also feel into the energy of his woman. And when this can be used to bring her that feeling of like, oh, he's got me, he wants me, and he can take my body in a way that lights up my whole skin and scalp and being. So there is that feeling of possession that she gets in that moment. When used correctly, hair pulling is a subtle gesture that expresses passion and establishes momentary possessiveness. It creates tension, sexual tension, whether it's connected to sex, or it's not connected to sex. And that combination for her of a physical and emotional arousal for her as she feels your passion and claiming of her as your woman. So you can spread your fingers wide as you can, start at the very bottom, the nape of her neck, and then as you go up, be as close to the scalp as possible. It's helpful to think of your hand like a very wide comb, and it's usually the back of the crown, the back first, and then the crown that produces the most incredible physical sensation for her. And we all know that, having someone with their fingers in our hair, it can produce relaxation, it can be stimulating. And so if this is not the place of the staircase of intimacy that you're at, bringing in just a head massage is starting this kind of energy. Or if you're at a place where kissing her is part of the stair that you're on, taking her, kissing her, grabbing the back of her hair while you look into her eyes is it's an archetypal feeling for her. It's a liquefying feeling for her, and it can awaken the most incredible sensation in her body. So even if we're talking about just the scalp, the pubic mound is stimulated in the same way. So you can actually bring in hair pulling and wakening up of her clitoris by doing this. So superficially caress the pubic hair, and then after a few seconds, take small handfuls and gently tug on them. Stop at the top of the pubis and travel downward bit by bit until reaching the vulva. And again, doing this is activating nerve endings, relaxation, turn on, and a feeling from her that you are claiming her in this exact moment of time.
So exploring this claiming with her, how would you open this up if you're a man that's never tried this type of thing, or if you're uncertain, you want to ask for consent, basically, right? Especially with a woman who's been throwing things like you're controlling out toward the guy and he doesn't want to come across as violating in a way. So how would a man who's had a tenuous spot bring this up?
Yeah, well, it's even in hugging, it can be a stroking her hair, just moving your hand to her scalp and expressing verbally like, oh, like, I just want to pull your hair right now. And you don't even have to do that, but it's the ownership and the passion for her. It's the energy of that can move the ball forward. So she gets to feel your desire to like, oh, like, I just want to like eat you up and grab you and pull your hair and pull you on top of me. However, in your mode of relationship, you would express that appropriate to the moment.
Yeah. And what you just said is fantastic as well. You can tell her what you want to do, right? The inflection of your voice, the intensity of your eye contact, how low your voice is, how slow you're saying it as well, how slow you're moving your body toward her. All of these things matter, and she feels all these things. So one, I guess I call it the cherry on top. A cherry on top for this, and I give this to men in a certain spot within coaching, is when you're trying something like this, or when you're moving toward your woman, you can put archetypal images in your mind. So you sitting on a throne as the king of your own life, you just getting back from a hunt as the warrior who slayed the buffalo and brought back meat to the tribe. You can put these feelings, these thoughts, these take some practice, but you can put that image in your mind, and that helps you embody what you're visualizing. Okay, so that's, if you've never tried that, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, give that a try or reach out to me, right? You can always fill out my contact form, greatmenmovemountains.com/contact, and have a one-on-one call with me. And I'll draw you a map of where you are, what I'm talking about, how to move through this phase as fast as possible. And, either reattract her or be ready for the next multiple women in your life. And we see that every single day, either men reestablishing with their wife, she moves back in, or man, you're having amazing sex with the next woman in your life. We see that all the time. Fantastic. Well, tonight I'm hosting Power 60 at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll see you there if you're going to be available. It's the middle of the night for Europe. Sorry, guys. Otherwise, thank you for being here. Gentlemen, good to see you. Jason's here. Bernard, Leandro, Jordan, good to see you. Hans, thanks for coming in. Piotrowski, Patrick, you're fantastic. Kyle, Ian, Jason, appreciate it. Randy, Andy, Walters, JT, and Richard. You guys are fantastic. Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow, same time, guys. Ciao.
Get more affection, love, and sex in your marriage. Get less paralyzing fear and rejection. Never miss an episode. Watch anytime, anywhere, 3 a.m. on the toilet. Get full episodes. GreatMenMoveMountains.com/VIP. The C Note Show.